Dear students, welcome to the course Science of Consciousness in Ancient India, and this is lecture 27. In the last lecture, I explained you ontology and epistemology of Kashmir Shaiva Darshan. Now, we are moving ahead for metaphysics. That means how the creation begins, how the manifestation happens, the process of manifestation, which is understood as metaphysics. Why metaphysics? Because it is beyond the physical phenomena of creation or manifestation. So, now you can see I have already explained you that the ultimate consciousness is being named in the with the term like Param Shiv. So, this Param Shiv is ultimate consciousness as per the understanding of Kashmir Shaiva Darshan, and this can be equated with shiousness rather than consciousness, because I have already explained in the beginning itself that there is a limitation with the word consciousness. In English, when we are identifying the concept of consciousness, we always focus on a subject and an object. There is one subject and there is one object, and the relationship between object and subject becomes denoted with the notion of consciousness. So, we are becoming aware about the objects which are present outside of us, and this can be like the object is within me or the object is outside of me. In both the cases, the objectification is a part of subject only. So, this kind of subject and object relationship is present in is denoted by the word consciousness. But once we understand Param Shiv, there is no objectification. That is the highest possible state of a subjecthood, and that subjecthood also is of that kind where you cannot actually say that it is a subject, because there is no two entity, there is no existence of duality. When there is no existence of duality, you cannot identify something as a subject or something as an object. So, we have a limitation with the word of consciousness, and that is why in the first point I have mentioned that consciousness or shiousness has been described in the name of Param Shiv, and Chitti is considered as the power of Param Shiv. So, Chitti is technically the power who is functional energy or functional intelligible energy, and that energy is responsible for the manifestation of the whole of the cosmos. This is the base understanding of Kashmir Shaiva Darshan. From here itself we can identify the process of manifestation. So, Param Shiv is known by many other synonyms, or you can say in whole of the Agama Shastra there are different terms which are identifying the same entity Param Shiv. So, I have mentioned few of them like Anuttar, then Chit, then Chaitanya, then Purna, and Parasamvit, Shiva, Parameshwara, Atman. These are few of the synonyms which are used in different varying texts of Agam Shastra, including Siddha Shastra, Namaka Shastra, and Malini Shastra. So, in all the Shastras, each and every scholar is having a particular term, particular technical term to identify the same entity, that is Param Shiv. As Param Shiv is the supreme, higher than which there is nothing ineffable and indescribable as this or that, or as not this or not that, pure form, self consciousness, integral or supreme experience, the benign one, the highest possible good and the highest possible bliss, the supreme one, the self of everything, formless yet informed with all the forms. This is very important. Formless yet informed with all the forms. This is denoting the seeded structure. Like if you take a seed of a banyan tree, then there is a whole of the tree inside. It is present inside of the seed itself, but till it is germinating, we don't identify the whole of the tree. So, it is a kind of a formless existence, but still having all the codes of diversification and differentiation. So, it is informed with all the possible forms and free from all the limitations of space and time. So, that is why it is within the time also and beyond the time also. It can be nominated as the pure consciousness or shiousness. in here again I have mentioned the same concept, because consciousness is a term which carries the subject of the relationship, and in Param Shiv there is no subject of the relationship. So there is no concept of objectification and subjectification also at the level of consciousness, or you can say at the level of Param Shiv. Now pure consciousness is conceived both as transcendent and immanent. This is related with the time space concept, because once we use the word transcendent, that means beyond something. Beyond what? Beyond time and space. So time and space are those entities which are considered to be the highest possible level of limitation, but it's not the real thing, because I have already explained you Tattva Mimamsa that we are having 6 transitional elements: Maya, Kala, Vidya, Rag, Niyati and Kal. So along with the Kal and Kala, we are having 4 more: Maya, Kala, Vidya, Rag, Niyati. So Vidya, Rag, these are also limitations, and they are also as important as the time and space, or Kal and Kala. They also restrict our freedom and eternality, everything. So that's why if some kind of existence or some kind of entity is transcending, is going beyond in existence, you can say like existence is available beyond the constraints of time space, then it is understood or considered as transcendental. And if it is present inside of the restraints or constraints of the time and space or some other limitations, that means it is immanent. So in Sanskrit we use the word Vishwa Uttirna. If you fuse the word, it would be like Vishwa Uttirna and Vishwamaya. So Vishwamaya means Vishwa ke andar, within the cosmic entity or cosmic manifestation, within the manifested world, that is Vishwamaya, immanent. And beyond the manifested existence, that is transcendental. So this is identification of pure consciousness or Param Shiv. Actually Param Shiv is Vishwatirna also, and it is Vishwamaya also. So we can say like Param Shiv का जो विचार है या जो परम शिव का जो स्टेट है वो काल पर निर्भर नहीं है. काल जब खत्म हो जाएगा तब भी उसका नहीं है, जब काल है तब भी उसका अस्तित्व है. So this is the understanding about Param Shiv. Param Shiv is both transcendent and immanent. And moving ahead with the same concept, manifestation progresses in 2 passages, 2 possible passages. One passage is showing you the subjects, and second passage is showing you the objects. Subjects means we, once the manifestation is going to begin, there is a diversification between signifier and signified. If this is an object, at the first instance, the structure of this object would be inside of me. It would be part of my thought structure. So it would be a part of my Vimarsh aspect, thinking potential. So in the first stage, the structure of this pen is inside of me. It is within me. It is a part of my own existence or consciousness. So at that time, when the manifestation is beginning, there is a diversification. The appearance of diversification progresses in 2 parts or 2 paths or passages. One is to identify a subject, and another is to identify an object. And here comes the differentiation between signifier and signified, like subject is something else, object is something else. So I am creating a pen, or I am seeing a pen. I becomes the subject and pen becomes the object, but both are present inside of my own existence or consciousness. That means they are the part of my thought structure. Right now I am not considering any external object, but still inside of my thoughts there is a differentiation, there is the presence of 2 entity. So you see the manifestation which is happening just because of the functioning of instrumental consciousness, that is Chitti, that who is the power of pure consciousness, that means Param Shiv. So the manifestation is progressing in 2 passages. One is the subject side and other is the object side. In the subject side, there are 3 entities: word, mantra and pad. In the objective side, there are Tattva, Kala and Bhuvan, and they are mutually interrelated and interdependent. You see the diagram, and in this diagram you can see that once the manifestation progresses into 2 possible passages, one side is known as subjective, which is Adhishtatri, dominant, and second is objective, that is adhishthaya dominant. So, in turn they become known as Kal Adhva and Desh Adhva. Kal Adhva is known as, this is Kal Adhva and this is Desh Adhva. So, you see there is a different concept here. The name of passages is also very specified. Two modes where one side subjects are being created and on the other side the objects are being created. So, objects, we identify normally objects with reference of any particular space, and particular space is normally understood in Kashmir Shabdarshan with the reference of kala, that means a membranous covering which can actually occupy or present the residences to the limited creatures. So, you see the Kal Adhva is the subjective side, where Varna, Mantra and Pad are the part of one subject. At the first instance there are some sounds, they are phonemes or Varna. Varna, like suppose a small kid is there, a small child, just born baby, you just consider a just born baby of any creature, it may be of human being, it may be of any other creature. The first sound which comes out of the mouth or the vocal organ is very abstract, you cannot identify it as a kind of a particular specified word, आपको नहीं पता कि वो क्या बोल रहा है, but there is a cluster of sound and that is nothing but the phonemic structure or the Varna first stage. Varna matlab basic sounds, basic phonemes, and once the phonemes are compounded together they generate mantra, and once the mantra are also going to generate a longer meaning or in a compressed version they become pad or shabd. So, see within a subject also in our thoughts at first we have basic sound structure. Once the basic sound structures are fused together, they are conjugated, then there is an existence of the mantra, because I continuously start contemplating on few of the sound structures or conjugated forms of the sounds. Like if suppose I have to create a pen, so in my thoughts in the beginning PEN, the sound structure like pen, that means if you consider sound structure, it would be pa, then a, then na, this and then a. So, this conjugated sound structure of different phonemes is representing an identity which comes later on as a gross object, but in the first stage it is just a part of my own consciousness or my own thoughts. Inside of my own thoughts also I would be using this sound structure and then fusing them together to generate a kind of identity inside of the consciousness or within the consciousness or within my thoughts itself. So, that would be like coming creation from one to month, one to mantra, mantra to pad. So, once I am focusing on different sounds separately, it would be like phonemic structure, basic phonemic structure, varna only. Like if a baby is crying, that then different sounds which are just the phonemic syllables, base syllables, and they are being pronounced or they are being used by the child in different pitch. Maybe sometimes the pitch is very low, sometimes the pitch is very high. But once two or more than two sounds are fused together, they and you are continuously contemplating on that fused structure of the sounds, that becomes a mantra. Like if you are focusing like gum, so gum is becoming a mantra because ga, then a, then anuswar. This cluster of sound is continuously meditated upon by you within your consciousness, and you are continuously contemplating gum, gum, gum. So, the same sound is resonating inside of you. Maybe you are not pronouncing the Vakhari structure. Vakhari vak means the gross structure of vak, which we are basically using to communicate with each other. So, if you are contemplating on something inside of your thoughts also, continuously thinking about the same problem, sometimes it is becoming a part, it is becoming a reason for the overthinking also. You are trying to get the solution of your problem by continuously contemplating on the same problem inside of you. So, you see, you can easily find those kind of people who are continuously talking to oneself, and you see the lip sync of their lip sync in their behavior. आपको केवल lip sync पता चलती है लेकिन वो अपने आप से बात कर रहे होते हैं. If you want to see this is kind of phenomenon, you can easily see in the examination hall the students are lip sync, they are talking to oneself, but the talk is going inside, it's not coming out. So, the thing which is a part of our thought structure, continuous contemplation, where we use conjugation of two or more than two sounds, that becomes a mantra. And once you are going to structure those mantras to give a particular meaning in the external world also, that becomes a pad. So, slowly, for example, from gum, gum is a bija mantra of Gadapati. So, if you are going to identify Gadapati or Ganesh with the gum sound, then Ganesh becomes the pad. So, see there is gum for the recitation of mantra, specifically if you are going to worship Gadapati, we use the gum Gadapataye Namaha. So, gum is the bij structure, it is a mantra form. It can be used by simply in a seated structure also, like a bija mantra itself, but Gadapataye Namah means it becomes a pad to identify a particular structure in the external world also. So, Ganesh becomes an object to be known in external world, and it may be the part of our thought also. Ganesh की एक particular मूर्ति या चित्र आपके विचार में, आपके thoughts में आ जाएगा. So, this is the Pad stage. So, you see within a subject, when the consciousness or you can say the power of consciousness chitti progresses on the subjective side, at first instance we have Varna, at the second instance we have mantra, and at the third stage we have pad. Similarly, on the objective side, with the evolution of Varna on the subjective side, on the objective side Tattva arises. So, 36 tattvas starting from Shiv, Shakti, Sadashiv, Ishwar, Shuddha Vidya, Maya, Kala, Vidya, Rag, Niyati and Kal, and then 25 tattvas from Purush to the Prithvi. Slowly 36 tattvas are evolving with each and every month, each and every Varna, syllable, phonemic energy, and after tattvas, mantra stage is linked with the presence of Kala and Pad stage is linked with the Bhuvan. The same concept is going to be explained with much detailed understanding here. You can see in the subjective side, when Varna, mantra and Pad are getting linked with the Tattva, Kala and Bhuvan, how we can identify that something is on the subjective side and something is on the objective side. So, for that purpose you can see the definition, how we can identify the differences between them. So, when you see the instrumental consciousness, this chitti, which is completely submerged into subjective consciousness, that gets represented as Varna Adhva, the first stage. When it is completely submerged in the subject itself, then Varna is there on the subjective side. Simultaneously, there is a Tattva which is embedded on the objective side. So, it is a kind of embedding, and when this instrumental consciousness stops and becomes dissolved into the subjective consciousness, it is represented as mantra adhva. So, that is why if you see somebody is thinking about something else, then if you are trying to talk or communicate with that person, the person would not listen to you, क्योंकि वो अपने ही विचारों में पूरी तरह डूबा हुआ है. That means his or her instrumental consciousness, chitti, is completely submerged into the state of contemplation or meditation, which is none but the mantra stage of the existence of the subject. And at the end, when subjective consciousness is dependent on the instrumental consciousness, it gets represented as padadhva. Now, you need this energy to communicate your thoughts to the others. So, now you start lip sync, your vocal organs will start functioning, will be in functional mode, that means padadhva. So, on the subjective side, Varna, mantra, pad evolve slowly, and on the objective side there is a presence of tattva, kala and bhuvan which are already embedded in the subject. So, you can see the linking of Varna with the Tattva. At the first instance, Varna is linked with the Tattva. So, on the subjective side, you see what is the process of linking each and every phoneme with the particular Tattva. I have already explained you the 36 tattvas. So, we have the tattvas from Shiv, Shakti, Sadashiv, Ishwar, Shuddha Vidya, then Maya, Kala, Kal, Vidya, Rag, Niyati, Purush, Prakriti, Mahat, Ahankar, Manas, Shrotra, Tvak, Chakshu, Rasana, Ghran, वाक पाणि पाद पायु उपस्थ शब्द स्पर्श रूप रस एंड गंध आकाश वायु अग्नि जल पृथ्वी. So total 36. This is the structure of the tattva, and we have the phonemic structure also, that is varna. So in Sanskrit language is not a kind of thing which only describes the physical aspects of a bhasha. It is much beyond that. That is why the structure of the phonemes is very important, it is very fundamental. You see, there is a presence of a and a, then e and e, u and u, that means long and short, long and short, short and long, short and long, short and long, a, e, u, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. In what sense? That means the time taken to pronounce the sound is considered to be the marker for short and long. Time is less. So suppose the time for the pronunciation of a is x. So in a it would be doubled, so 2x. And if the time duration which for the pronunciation of the same a gets triple time, it would be the plut swara. So same sound, if it is having the duration of pronunciation longer and longer, it would be considered as short, long and plut. So similarly you can see short and long, short and long, short and long, a, e, u. Then a, o, and aha. After this also we have re, short and long, re, short and long. This is the structure of the swar, which is normally available to us in the Sanskrit language. So you see the base a, e, u 3, then a, o 3 and o, ah again the 3. That means this is the 9. The total 9 swaras are there. In English we have the concept of consonant and vowel, and that concept is exactly not applicable for the Sanskrit language. There is a difference between both the concepts. For example, Sanskrit language is much focused on the orality, because we are belonging to our oral tradition, we are focused on the orality of each and every sound. So how the sounds are being pronounced, that is the dominating feature when we are reading this base fundamental structure of the Sanskrit language. So swar is what? The definition of the swar in Sanskrit says that the sound which is not dependent on any other sound for its pronunciation, that is considered to be the swar. And what is a vyanjan? Vyanjan are those sounds which are dependent on the swaras for their pronunciation. So their definition is very clear. In Sanskrit language, it is very clear if we are pronouncing, or if any object is giving us any kind of sound which is not dependent on any other sound for its pronunciation, that is swara. And if the sound is dependent on the swar for its pronunciation, that becomes a vyanjan. Very clear definition. But in English, the concept of vowel and consonant, say for example, you see vowels are these 5 symbols. If you pronounce them a, e, I, o and then u. See, the basic fundamental structure is so much different. A, okay fine, as per Sanskrit it is the swara. E, again okay fine, that is also a swar. I is a fusion of 2 swaras, a and e. O is a swar, okay fine, accepted. But u is ya, then u. It's not a swara. It's a vowel, but it's not a swara, because it is a fusion of yakara and ukara. U is swar and ya is vyanjan. So, see the base sound structure, the base structure of English and Sanskrit is completely different. इसीलिए that's the basic reason why we should be very alert while translating any corpus of Sanskrit into English or any other foreign language. We need to have the equivalent set of sounds first, then only you can identify the differences in the concepts. So, see now coming back to again the concept here, we have the swaras, the 9 swaras, they are how they are associated with the tattvas. See, all the swaras are considered to be the Shiva tattva, first one. So, all the swaras are linked with the Shiva tattva. Then again from Shiva tattva, each and every tattva is going to come. So, after Shiva there is a Shakti, then Sadashiv. So, in the Vyanjan group, this is the Swara group. All the swaras are linked with the Shiva tattva, and this is the Vyanjan group. So, all the Vyanjanas are linked with each and every tattva. How? Starting from the Shiva tattva itself, the last is Ksha. This is the last syllable. So, this is associated with the Shiva tattva, and then Ha is associated with the Shakti. Then again dental Sa is Sadashiv, and then Ishwar, Murdhanasha and Talavisha is Shuddha Vidya. Similarly, Maya is having Va, Kal and Kala both have La, Vidya is Ra, Rag and Niyati both are linked with Yakar. And in the same way, you can list the 25 Vyanjanas. For example, this is Ma, this is Bha, and you have to put the sounds in a reverse order, because we learn this Varnamala starting from Ka. Vyanjanas we are being taught in this way, Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, Ng. So, you start from Ka, then Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, Ang, Cha, Cha, Ja, Jha, Ya, Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Da, Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na and Pa, Fa, Ba, Bha, Ma. So, you can list the 25 tattvas starting from Purush to Prakriti in the reverse order in the tattva with the Varnas. So, this is the way how each Varna is linked with each of the tattva, and this is very important to understand the structure of the chakras which are available inside of us, and once chakras are in ignited state, they become available to us as a Kundalini, awakened state of Kundalini. So, here you can see that the word Shad Adhva is used, Shad then Adhva. This is, if you split the word, it would be like this one. Shad means 6, Adhva means passage. So, in total, at the first instance, when Chitti starts functioning, it is available into 2 passages. One is Kal Adhva and other is Desh Adhva. And again, if you go with the 3 types which are available inside of each of the 2 sets, that is under Kal and under Desh, 3 under Kal, 3 under Desh. So, in total they become 6. So, this is the structure of 6 fold passages. So, you can understand that the concept of Kashmir Shaiva is saying that once Chitti starts functioning, it rushes into through the 2 passages. One is through the subjects, one is through the objects. On the subjective side, Varna, Pad, Mantra, these are the 3, and on the objective side, Tattu, Kala and Bhuvan, these are again the 3. So, in total they become 6. So, if you are being asked in the examination to write a short note on the Shad Adhva, then you have to write this, you have to explain this much of the diagram. Shad Adhva, 6 fold passages through which the Chitti or the power of consciousness comes out for manifestation process. On the basis of the same concept, we have the classification of the 4 types of Vak. You see, this diagram is denoting very clearly how we start thinking, Vimarsha Shakti. Once our thoughts are in function, that means Chitti is functional, automatically there would be the thinking process, thought structure. So, in the thought structure, the first stage is of Para. See, the 4 टाइप्स ऑफ वाक, परा, पश्यंती, मध्यमा, वैखरी, 4 तरह की वाक है. फर्स्ट स्टेज इज The first level is nominated as Paravak, which is non-differentiated state. See this one, non-differentiated state. Non-differentiation in between which the signifier and the signified. So, you see, if I am using this object, this is signified, this is something, till I do not know the name of this object, this is something and this object is the signified, and by which it should be addressed, that word becomes the signifier. So, you see there are two entities, one is that which is signifying something, that is signifier, and second is that which is getting signified, जिसको आप जान रहे हैं, that means the object to be addressed is signified and the word which is used to address that a particular object is the signifier. So, here at the first instance जब आपका बच्चा पैदा हुआ है तो आपको पता नहीं उसका नाम, आप उसका नामकरण करते हैं, मतलब अभी आपको नाम पता नहीं था, आपने एक शब्द ढूंढा, उसको नाम दिया, तो अब से उसका नाम ऐसा हो गया, तो आप उसको उसी नाम से बुलाने लग गए. द सेम थिंग इज हियर. इन द बिगिनिंग आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट इज, आई coined the word kalam or pen to identify this particular object, to address this particular object. So, once I superposed this word, the combination of these sounds ka, la, ma or pa, a and na, a. So, then this cluster of the sounds become signifier and this object became signified. इन द फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस जब तक इस ऑब्जेक्ट का एग्जिस्टेंस बाहर आया ही नहीं है, ये मेरे थॉट में भी नहीं है, अभी मैंने सोचा ही नहीं है कि मुझे पेन जैसा कुछ क्रिएट करना है, टिल दैट मोमेंट, एट दैट पर्टिकुलर मोमेंट व्हाट इज देयर, para state is there. There is no differentiation between signifier and signified. दोनों separate है ही नहीं. There is only one entity, that is my consciousness. There is only one thing and that cannot be nominated as a subject and that cannot be nominated as an object. So, there is no subject, there is no object, there is only one entity residing as it is in a non-differentiated state and that is the para state of वाक. आपने अभी कोई डिफरेंशिएशन शुरू ही नहीं किया है, तो वाक की वो सबसे टॉप मोस्ट स्टेज जहाँ कोई डिफरेंशिएशन नहीं है वो है परा. वंस परा इज trespassed, after that पश्यन्ति begins, the second level where the differentiation of signifier and signified is yet to begin. You see the dash, this dash mark is showing that the differentiation is yet to begin. That means आपने सोचना शुरू किया है. You have just started thinking, still you do not know what you are going to create, there is no difference between signifier and signified, you do not know the particular size, shape, color of the object, you do not know what it is, what exactly you are going to think or you are going to create, अभी कुछ पता नहीं है, but it is yet to begin, it is going in the process of differentiation, that is Pashyanti. And the third stage becomes a Madhyama, where signifier has come in the form of thoughts, though it has not been uttered. अभी बोला नहीं गया है लेकिन दिमाग में क्लियर हो गया है कि मुझे एक पेन डिज़ाइन करना है. So, you in the thought there is an existence of a separate signified. Separate signified is present in the thought. So, that is the Madhyama structure. यही वो है जहाँ हमारे थॉट्स डेवलप होते हैं. सो इन द मॉडर्न कॉग्निटिव साइंसेज व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट माइंड एंड थॉट्स एंड सो मैनी थिंग्स, वेयर द वेस्टर्न अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज नॉट एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई ये थॉट कहाँ से आते हैं, कैसे आते हैं, क्योंकि उनके पास विमर्श जैसा कोई कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है. दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ अल्टीमेट कॉन्शियसनेस हु हैज़ द पोटेंशियल ऑफ प्रकाश एंड विमर्श, ल्यूमिनोसिटी एंड थॉटफुल अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो दैट्स वाई दे फेल टू आइडेंटिफाई द क्वेश्चन ऑल्सो, दे फेल टू आइडेंटिफाई the possible answer also. But here we are very clear that Madhyama stage is a thought stage where the signifier and signified is going to be separated, but they are not uttered. They are still in the stage of thought only. So, they are still the part of consciousness only. Here word and the object is in notional relation through its meaning. So, you see this is notional relation. What is notional? When you notify something in your thoughts. मैंने for example suppose you have submitted an application and you messaged me, I said I have noted it. तो मैंने कहीं लिखा नहीं, बट मैंने अपने दिमाग में उसको नोट कर लिया है. सो इट इज़ अ पार्ट ऑफ माई थॉट, दिस इज नोटिफाइड within my consciousness. That's the notional relationship. So this is the stage of thought where signifier and signified both are present as a part of our own consciousness, and this is the stage which is responsible for providing us the thinking capacity, because of which the human beings are considered to be the superior to all the other animals or other creatures. So you see here, notional relation, through its meaning it is present. So this notional relation happens between signifier and signified just because of the meaning. I can understand the meaning, I can relate or keep the meaning inside of me. I cannot keep this particular object inside of me, but I can keep the meaning, the abstract of structure or the characters of this kind of object inside of me. तो अभी आपने सोच लिया कि मैं एक ऐसा पेन बनाऊंगा जिसकी लंबाई 6 इंच या 10 इंच होगी. तो दिस काइंड ऑफ एब्स्ट्रैक्ट बट क्लियर identification of the characteristics is inside of our thought, that is the meaning. So because of the meaning, now the relationship between signifier, signified and the meaning gets established, and that is at the level of notional relationship, or it is being notified in the thoughts. Last level is of Vaikhari, where words are pronounced through the vocal organs. You see, the last stage is Vaikhari. Here the relationship between signifier and signified denotes the conventional use of the words for different objects. Now this relationship is very gross, because this word object is also there, this which is outside present, and there is a particular word which is uttered by me, like kalam or pen. So both are separate, one is signified, one is a signifier, and the meaning is inside of me. So I have uttered this word pen or kalam, now this is Vaikhari. So Vaikhari Vak is grossest possible level of speech. That's why there is a concept of 4 levels of Vak, 4 levels of Vak, and para level is the highest one, which is subtlest possible aspect of the Vak, and the Vaikhari Vak is the grossest possible level of the Vak. So this is the understanding of the 4 levels of Vak on the basis of the subjective manifestation process of the Chitti, or the power of Param-Shiva. On the basis of this discussion, if we want to go for some kind of questions, so there can be possible questions like explain the 4 levels of Vak. The same slide, 4 levels of Vak: Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama and Vaikhari. Then explain Shadadhva, that means 3 parts, 3 possible passages which are a part of Kal Adhva, and 3 possible passages which are the part of Deshadhva. So they become Shadadhva. Now we can have fill in the blanks. For example, pure consciousness is conceived both as immanent and transcendent. That means Vishwamaya and Vishwotirna. This is Vishwamaya and this is Vishwotirna. In the manifestation process, when the Chitti descends undergoing limitation, it becomes known as Chitta. So there is a difference between the concept of Chitti and Chitta, as I told you in the previous lecture also, that Chitti as per Yoga Darshan is different, Chitti as per Kashmir Shaiva Darshan is different. In the same way, Chitta as per Yoga Darshan is different and Chitta as per Kashmir Shaiva Darshan is different. Here in Kashmir Shaiva Darshan, Chitti which descends down undergoing limitation becomes a Chitta, but in Yoga Darshan, Chitta was trigonic in nature. So that was composed of 3 basic principal elements, that is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And Chitti was defined as Chitti Shakti Aparinamini Apratisankrama Darshita Vishaya Shuddha Cha Ananta Cha. That as per the Yoga Darshan, this was a definition. Here Chitti is what? Chitti Swatantra Vishwasiddhi Hetu Svekshaya Sabhitta Vishwam Unmilyati, and both are different in concepts. The 2 modes of manifestation are subjective and objective. Subjective manifestation consists of Varna, Mantra and Pad. Objective manifestation consists of Tattva, Kala and Bhuvan. In the next lecture, I will explain this Kala and Bhuvan also. When instrumental consciousness completely submerges into subjective consciousness, that is represented as Varna. When instrumental consciousness or chitti ceases and becomes dissolved into subjective consciousness, that is represented as mantra. And when subjective consciousness is dependent on instrumental consciousness, it gets represented as pad. Then the vak is that where signifier who describes the object and the signified are undifferentiated. This is paravak. Last is the vak is that where differentiation of signifier and signified is yet to begin, that is pashyanti. So, for this lecture this is sufficient. Thank you.